So it looks like we're getting a new Marvel Legends retro card Beast, but is this action figure any good and is it worth your money, soulmates? Be sure you stick around until the end, guys, because we're going to talk about what X-Men characters we want to see next. If you support what I do, please click subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single video of mine when it comes out. Beast has had a somewhat interesting history as an action figure, my friends. He originally appeared in Toy Biz's X-Men line way back in 1994, where he had a strange action feature that featured mutant flipping power, and what this amounted to was on his back he had a little wheel where if you turned it, it would adjust his balance, and then his knees and his ankles were both spring-loaded, so depending on where that wheel was facing and you pressed down on his legs, he would flip a certain way. After that, he got a lot of other toys from Toy Biz, but later in the Marvel Legends line, in Series 4, they did Beast. And this Beast was rather exciting because this entire wave, or series, represented a turning point for Marvel Legends where Toy Biz was trying to figure out exactly what to do with this line. Some of the things they had been trying throughout Series 1 and 2 weren't working all that well, like the ab articulation. So in Series 3 and 4, they were trying a whole bunch of new things, like eliminating ab articulation altogether, and then trying articulation in new places. After this, there were some other Beast action figures, but let's fast forward to the Caliban wave from Hasbro, where they produced another classic comic book Beast, and this one was pretty cool. This one is very notable for having an excellent sculpt, and also he's extremely balanced because when you fit one of the hands on this Beast, he can do a nice little handstand. By the way, the superb balance of this particular action figure also translates over to Dark Beast, and well, that's just as good an action figure as this one from the Caliban wave is. Another extremely notable thing about this Beast action figure is that he's one of the rare Hasbro Marvel Legends to have toe articulation, and this is something that really surprised me when I saw it, but yes, it's there, and you really only see that on Beast and Spider-Man these days. The only drawback of Caliban Wave Beast is that he only has one head sculpt, and this head sculpt is a very angry one, so making it the lone head sculpt of the action figure was maybe not the best call. Something a little bit more neutral might have been better if they were just going to go with one head. But still, the quality of the action figure is undeniable. And that brings us right into the new retro card Beast, soulmates. How is this toy? Well, considering that the original Beast from the Caliban wave is pretty good, and this Beast is more or less the same sculpt, all my praise remains intact because it's literally the same toy, it just has a new head, some new accessories, and a lab coat. So before we get into anything else, let's take a look at what's new on this action figure, starting with the lab coat. The lab coat is made specifically for Beast, and it won't fit any other action figure. It looks a little rough around the edges in some areas, but then again, you also have to keep in mind that it is made for a 6-inch action figure, and the stitching on this sort of thing is a little touch and go. So it's hard to make cloth coats look extremely realistic and whatnot, so I don't think that it's necessarily a bad coat. It's just a coat that's made for a very tiny toy, and at that point you kind of just have to say, well, they did the best they could. But still, I love that they included a soft goods lab coat on this action figure, and I think that he looks really good in it. He looks kinda goofy in it, which is the point. It looks like Beast is wearing his lab coat and he's going about all of his science business. And speaking of science stuff, let's look at the equipment that he comes with. The beakers that you see with Beast here are the exact same ones that we see with the Lizard. Do you necessarily have to reinvent the wheel for accessories like this? I don't think so. I think that science equipment like that tends to be pretty across the board, so it's no great surprise that what the Lizard uses would be what Beast uses. And to their credit, the colors that we see on this equipment are different colors from what we see on the Lizards. So that's a nice touch, and also we see a little detail on one of those beakers that says X gene, and that's another nice touch too. I like that. The penultimate accessory that's new with Beast are his eyeglasses, and I'm really happy they included these because it's one of those little touches that makes it feel more like this is Beast at work in his lab. All this stuff that we're seeing here makes for an excellent overall Beast experience, and the only way I could see this being improved even more right now is if maybe we had a playset to go along with him so he felt even more at work, but that's really shooting for the stars and hitting the moon. Of course, the final new accessory that we're seeing with Beast is a new head sculpt, and this one I like very much. It looks very reminiscent of the old comics from the 90s, and it's very appropriate for Beast considering the other head sculpt that we get with him, which is the original head that came with the Caliban wave Beast. Based on the pictures I've seen of this toy, it seems like this resting head sculpt is very versatile. It can range anywhere from Beast is getting kind of angry, to Beast is in contemplative thought, to Beast is listening. It all works. Now that we've talked about all the new stuff and why it's nice to have it, let's talk about the other stuff that was already there and what works and what doesn't work. What doesn't work for me is the second head sculpt that was included with the Caliban wave Beast. And this isn't really a bad head sculpt, it just looks so much different from the head sculpt that is included here as the resting head. The reason it doesn't work for me is that the hair is a little too vertical, the sideburns are a little too pointy at the bottom, and it seems like there's an outline around his lips where we don't really see that on the other head sculpt. I think that a new head sculpt would have been in order, and if they wanted to make an angry head, they should have done a new one to go along with this other head that's included with the package. That way I think the heads would match a little bit more closely and it would feel like they belong together. As of right now though, it feels like we're looking at two separate styles. And well, one can't help but look at those two styles and recognize that the one that's the resting head sculpt is a better quality head sculpt. And then there's the body, and like I've already said, the Beast body is so good. You don't have to reinvent the wheel when you've already knocked it out of the park and you have a perfectly good Beast body just waiting there to be used. And there's something different about this Beast body. This one is painted a brighter blue, and it also doesn't have a bunch of heavy-handed shading on it, like the original Caliban wave Beast does. He has a bunch of shading all over his fur in various places, and it looks a little awkward and heavy-handed in some areas. This one, though, it's very subtle, and it looks much nicer. It looks more accurate to what we see from the comics that way. As you can probably tell, I'm a fan of this action figure, and I can tell you right now that I think it's worth taking a look at this one, especially if you really need a Beast action figure. But we should probably take a look at the price here. The price for this one is going to be $33.99, or $34, and $34 is quite the price tag, but is it worth $34? Is it worth more than standard price, which now is $25? Well, we have to look at this and consider that there's no longer a Build-A-Figure part in the package. We have multiple things taking over the space of the Build-A-Figure part, such as an extra Beast head, his flask, and then his glasses. But does that really equal a Build-A-Figure part? Considering everything else that we're getting in this package, a lab coat, glasses, some beakers, an extra head, I don't know that that's necessarily justification to bump the price up as high as it is, because in my eyes that all seems roughly equivalent to a Build-A-Figure part, and I think that this should go for standard price. Is this Beast worth your money, soulmates? Well, it depends how you feel about paying $9 more for a lab coat, an extra head, a couple of beakers, and some glasses. If you're okay with paying that price, well, then this is the Beast for you, and to be fair, it is a very nice Beast, and everything that's included with him is pretty awesome. I wish that we were all getting a better deal on this one, but if you can stomach it, go for it, guys, because it's a nice release, this one. Am I gonna get this Beast? Well, it depends how much interest there is in this one. If you guys really want to see a review of this Beast action figure, let me know about it, guys, and be sure you share this video with all your friends and we'll see what happens. Now that we've seen this retro card Beast, what X-Men character do we want to see next, guys? I've been talking a lot about Magneto, and to be fair, I would love to see a really great one, and a lot of you guys have said the Blob and Avalanche, and believe me, they are long overdue for Marvel Legends, but I'm gonna put a name out there that not a lot of people are putting out there, and I'm gonna say Trevor Fitzroy. I would love to see a Marvel Legends of him. He's kind of a deep cut, but go look up some comics, guys. He's an awesome character. He was even the final boss of a Wolverine video game back in the day, and I would love to see him here in plastic form. Well, soulmates, how do you feel about this retro card Beast? Is this one that you have to have for your collection? Are you on the fence about this one because maybe you have one of the other Beasts that were released? Or are you just not that interested in the character and you're just gonna skip this one? I don't know, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think, and be sure you let me know what X-Men character you want to see next, guys. If you want to learn more about the retro card X-Men Apocalypse action figure that was revealed, you can check out that video here, soulmates.